Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, January 31st, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of ORN News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English. The Assembly Speaker, Mr. Ilir Mehta, gave a press conference today commenting on the coalition between the SMI and the Socialist Party. Mr. Mehta declared that if the Socialist Party has 71 MPs with its new allies, then the Socialist Movement for Integration will not need to be in the coalition. The Socialist Movement for Integration vowed to continue with the coalition until the end of the mandate for the sake of Albania's integration. The Socialist Movement for Integration respects the responsibility that stems from the coalition of June 2013. The SMI chairman was asked about the statements made by Socialist Movement for Integration officials against the government, responding that he cannot comment on their statements. Mr. Mehta said the SMI has given its stance concerning the dismissal of the Minister of Justice, Mr. Yuli Magnani. In regard to Mr. Magnani's accusations, the SMI chairman urged anyone with a denouncement to give it to the prosecution. Every minister or former minister who has any proof of wrongdoing should follow the justice path. Whoever strays from the stabilizing message of the Socialist Movement for Integration will keep their own responsibilities. Responding to the question of whether Mr. Magnani's dismissal can be considered a submission of Ilir Mehta to the Prime Minister, Mr. Mehta had this to say. In 2008 and 2009, when Sali Berisha and Eddie Rama joined together against the Socialist Movement for Integration, I did not surrender before either of them and instead turned into a factor of stability, achieving many things, even if not everyone likes them, replied Mehta, though he did not make any comment on the Minister of Interior. When asked about the state police, the SMI chairman said that he has supported the state police even when it was attacked in a boulevard with stones and firearms. Regarding the cannabis issue, the Assembly Speaker said that police should work to prevent it, not harvest it. Coordinated work between the police and the State Informative Service and law enforcement agencies is needed to prevent cannabis planting. The police and State Informative Service need to engage in stopping criminal groups from bringing cannabis seeds into Albania. Regarding the arrest of the criminal Clement Balili, Mr. Mehta said that the U.S. officials are also worried about his arrest. During my visit to the U.S., I was asked to draw the authorities' attention to the failure of arresting Clement Balili. There is no place other than the National Council of Security to discuss such delicate issues as the Balili case. I asked to gather the council to understand the importance of the institutions and their functioning in the best possible way, said Mehta. The Socialist Movement for Integration chairman declared that the electoral reform should be realized as soon as possible, and just like he did for the judicial reform, Mr. Mehta proposed that the leaders close themselves in a room until they find consensus for the electoral reform. A day after Yuli Magnani, the former Minister of Justice, made accusations against the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Interior replied today saying that the State Police Department is the most trustworthy institution and that the fight against corruption is the best response to those accusations. For the third year in a row, all the studies have found that the state police is the most trustworthy institution in the Republic of Albania. But we still have a lot of work to do in order to have the state police that we want, the state police for the future generations. Speaking at an activity for the road police, the Minister of Interior called on citizens to not offer bribes to the road police officers, noting that 39 citizens have been arrested for offering bribes. The police officers are doing their best. During January, they arrested 39 citizens, and this is the best proof of their work. This is also evidence to anyone who has not yet understood that we are taking the fight against corruption seriously, added the Minister of Interior. He reiterated his call to the citizens to not try bribing road police officers again, as this practice is no longer acceptable. The U.S. Ambassador Donald Liu and the OSCE Ambassador Bernard Borchardt held a meeting with Democratic Party Chairman Basha at the Democratic Party headquarters. Recent political developments and the parliamentary elections were the focus of their discussion. The DP chairman emphasized that the statements made by the ministers of the government are strong evidence of the criminalization of state and local government and of the police. The DP chairman affirmed that he will do everything for free elections, electronic voting and counting, and to return the citizens' trust in free voting. According to the DP chairman, the refusal of electronic voting and counting shows the majority does not want free and honest elections. Democratic Party Chairman Basha announced the start of popular protests today to guarantee free and honest elections. The DP chairman issued strong accusations against the Prime Minister, accusing him of using gangs to manipulate the June 18th parliamentary elections. In a speech, Basha said, "Free and honest elections in Albania are an issue related to the big problems of politics, organized crime, and drugs. The opposition has denounced these problems in the last 3 years. The decriminalization law is not being implemented because of the lack of political will. There is no political will because Rama is connected to crime and drugs. This was clearly seen in the recent political movements inside the ruling coalition." Democratic Party chairman says what the OSCE ambassador thinks about the use of technology in elections is not important, but what is important is the use of every means to guarantee an election process with standards. It is not important what individuals think. Realizing the solutions we have proposed is possible, and I discussed that with the ambassadors. The message I have for the citizens, which I also discussed with the Democratic Parliamentary Group, is that the time is over for institutional solutions. There is no will for institutional solutions. The government is playing with the time. Every day that passes is an alibi, so this is the time for a popular action, declared Mr. Basha. DP chairman also commented on the recent developments of the ruling coalition, saying they show that the government is being run by gangs. The newly elected chairwoman of the Council of Appointments in the Justice System, Judge Mirella Fana, resigned today along with one prosecutor. Judge Fana is also a member of the Supreme Court and was elected as chairman of the Appointments Council of the Justice System on January 27th through a lot drawing to select the members. According to the new constitution, a member of the Supreme Council can be elected as the chair of Appointments Council in the Justice System. The Prime Minister reacted to the resignation, saying, "I welcome the volunteer resignations of judges and prosecutors who do not want to undergo the vetting process. The new justice system will not be controlled like the old one." The Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance presented the government's $1 billion public investments project today to the businesses and bank representatives. The project is expected to address several problems in road infrastructure, healthcare, and the education system in the next 3 years, with an important part of this project being the construction of Arbery Road. It's about public investments in schools, roads, and excellent health centers, which would take 10 to 13 years to be constructed with only the state budget. Attracting private capital, we can construct them in 2 to 3 years and then repay the private investors over 10 to 15 years, according to the contracts, without taking the citizens' money, declared the Prime Minister. Inviting entrepreneurs to cooperate through private-public partnerships, the Prime Minister assured them that there will be no risk in cooperating with the government and that the projects do not affect the public debt or deficit. In concurrence, the Minister of Finance declared that the state budget has limited opportunities for such investments and that the program aims to increase the economy. The program has many advantages. It does not affect the public debt. It has a rapid economic and social impact, said the minister. The program includes a list of projects ranked by priority and offers many new jobs with expectations of gathering revenue from the projects. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.